In this series, Mr. Jay Lakhani, noted theoretical physicist and Hindu communicator, connects the dots between science and ancient Hindu beliefs. He offers a contemporary, comprehensive and scientific version of Hinduism that aligns with rational thinking. Mr. Lakhani has given TED Talks and lectures at many UK schools and universities. He is also the first Hindu tutor appointed by the prestigious Eton College. So we're standing in front of a superhero here. What's your take on superheroes?
Most of the youngsters relate to superheroes. The reason why humanity is trying to achieve this superhero status is it reflects their underpinning as the spirit, trying to break free from the bounds of the physical nature. So the idea of superhero is showing that the spirit is something far greater than the physical thing that's holding it down as a human being. This is the very central feature of our traditions. The reason why every human being, every living thing is special is because something non-material is manifesting itself through the material frame. And the word we use is spiritual humanism. That is your true nature.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on spiritual humanism?
There are two issues that are central in our tradition. One is pluralism, many ways to be spiritual. The second feature, which is more dynamic, says stop focusing on God in the heaven, focus on humanity. There's something special about this human race because essentially the spirit is becoming more clearly manifested. That's called spiritual humanism, in stark contrast to this materialistic humanism that is considered very popular these days. Humanity, this non-material, it is not something that comes out of matter. This is the definition of spirit. It is not in compliance with the physical forces we encounter, it is in defiance of it. Human beings capture the essence of nature and harness it for betterment.
How does science embrace this concept of spiritual humanism? You're saying religion needs to embrace it, but shouldn't science also need to embrace it?
Theoretical sciences, especially quantum mechanics, has gone in a cul-de-sac since about 100 years now because they are not prepared to embrace a deeper vision regarding nature of reality. They are fixated trying to explain everything as matter and its epiphenomena. We are much more than matter and its attributes. This is the idea of spiritual humanism, which will become the central way humanism recognizes its own dignity and divinity by focusing on the deeper dimension they possess, spirit.
So if you're saying physics and maybe even quantum theory is in a rut for the last 100 years, how can they get out of this rut?
They are struggling. They are not able to think outside the box, and the box is materialism. They want to try and explain the whole of this reality in terms of matter and its epiphenomena, its attributes. They have succeeded for the last 2000 years, but suddenly in the 1920s we discover a phenomena called quantum, which is in great defiance of this materialistic interpretation of reality, saying that underpinning this reality is not matter. Matter is an epiphenomena, it's a secondary phenomena, it's an appearance, as Erwin Schrödinger. Underpinning this reality is non-material. Unless science decides to take on the importance of the metaphysical or the spiritual dimension to reality, they will stop progressing. They need this deeper vision that comes from our tradition and incorporate it in their thinking for them to make further progress. They are not able to accept that everything is matter and it can be explained in terms of matter. So this idea of empirical encasement doesn't allow them to think deeper.
So if in the 1920s quantum physics discovered this synchronicity with Vedanta and Hindu philosophy, why 100 years later are they still floundering and they've not really found out what is this underpinning?
There is no progress for the last 100 years in theoretical physics. They've developed the mathematical tools to get a handle on understanding of reality, but the idea of quantum has not been embraced. Einstein, the great physicist, had a great problem because he could not fight the quantum phenomena. Majority of theoretical physicists are prepared to accept there's a deeper dimension. They're not using the word consciousness because it doesn't sit well with the rest of physics. That is reality.
So what is Hinduism's take on this? If quantum physics cannot find the answer, doesn't Hinduism have an answer?
We have the deeper vision, the idea of Brahman. Adi Shankara says it is of the nature of existence, consciousness and bliss. Three words, three handles. At the experiential level they become one. At the deeper level there are three levels. Asti, Bhati, Priya, existence, consciousness and bliss. That's very central in modern physics. Quantum is telling us the reality you see is nothing but existence quivering, producing creation. This idea of existence underpinning to reality is very much part of the Hindu philosophy. And the other part is consciousness. Again, a big question. In life sciences, what is the nature of consciousness? What is it all about? They have no idea. Where does the answer come from? And the underpinning this reality is Asti, Bhati, Priya. Bhati means consciousness.
How does this quivering start?
Hindu philosophy doesn't tell you what is this link between this idea of existence and existence making appearance as a quivering phenomena. That feature regarding what is the link remains unanswerable. We know there is going to be a disjoint regarding what is and what it actually is and what it appears as material world. That disjoint is called Maya. There's an appearance which cannot be explained. It is something much deeper. There's a permanent disjoint. If you believe in theistic Hinduism, the idea of supreme personality, Vishnu or Shiva, then you say this God set us into motion, just like the Abrahamic tradition. This is one approach. Personality-oriented approach. It doesn't really fit with science. The principle-oriented Hinduism says three things unfold for creation to come into being. The three things that unfold, stretch its arms and creation comes into being are called Desh, Kal, Nimit. Desh means space, Kal means time, and Nimit means causality, cause and effect. They say when they stretch their arms, creation comes into being. The idea of modern cosmology says precisely that. They say that when space and time unfold, creation comes into being. The Big Bang theory doesn't say a bang, it simply says space and time begin to unfold. Now this is very important idea at the heart of Hinduism. But we add one more thing, and that is called causality. How did this start? Hinduism said, don't ask. You can't say who set off the Big Bang. If you ask Stephen Hawking, what was there before the Big Bang? He said, don't ask me, there was no time. Causality comes with the Big Bang, so the question is irrelevant. This is the depth of Hindu teaching.